SoCan works where we for radio, it's off ad based, so they pay a percentage of their ad revenue, and then it comes to us, and then we pay out per that. So for BDS stations, so I live in Toronto, so I use them stations as an example. So something like 102.1 The Edge, 99.9, or Z103, they're the major radio stations. They pay about $1 to $1.50 a spin, changes per quarter based again on their ad revenue. And CBC, for example, if you have a spin on CBC, you can get paid up to $25 a spin, just because of the amount of ears that you'll hear, the amount of ears that will hear your music. I just want to pause on that for a second, and I think a big thing you'll be hearing a lot is about streaming. So I just have a question. How many people consume music through Spotify or Apple Music? And then how many people do not use Spotify or Apple Music but buy records?
Digital.
Yeah, physical, digital. Okay, there you go. So how many people of those people, so I just want to get a consensus of the room. How many people know what Spotify is or have Spotify on their computer or pay every month? They pay for Spotify? And keep your hand up if you use Spotify. Okay, cool. That's a big one because as a songwriter and artist, I think, and this is my perspective, you need to know what your consumer, how they consume music. And nowadays, the way that it is in youth in my generation, we consume music, and unfortunately, we consume music through streaming and through Spotify. Myself, I listen to music on Spotify, or I'll go buy a vinyl. That's it. So understanding the way how people are going to consume music is a big thing, and a big aspect of leveraging that to kind of advance your career. And that's kind of like the little things that stand out is being understanding that, taking advantage of that market, as in the Spotify, Apple Music market. And that's just a little kind of tidbit thing. People give me CDs all the time. I have 3 computers, none of them have a CD drive. So it's just kind of the way of the land, and it's unfortunate.
Things will pick up.
Sorry?
Things will pick up.
Yeah. But a computer will never have a CD drive again, so.
But you have a turntable.
I do. So I subscribed, I saved my friend's artist to Spotify for offline listening and went and bought their vinyl. So a big one will be, sorry?
I just said payola, but I was joking.
Yeah, sorry. Pay for a subscription on your own, but use Spotify with regards to, you have an album coming out, right? So Spotify our generation is playlist based, right? High skip rate on a medium of generating a playlist. 10 songs in order that you feel, right? So you can use Spotify to then tell a story of an album. So if your album's coming in 5 months and you lead singles, you can create playlists that you could promote that shows how you wrote that album. You can showcase your kind of influences, right? So you create like a rapport with your audience, so they can kind of dive deeper into you, and then say, "Oh, I like those bands too," and then you kind of follow them away. That makes sense, right? So kind of taking advantage of that, using Spotify as a way it means to sell. I don't mean to big up Spotify. It's just an example for people to use. You can use Spotify or streaming services to help sell tickets to other things, right? But yeah, you can use it to engage your audience and use it that way. I kind of went away from my topic, but
when you say to engage the audience, so by providing written information as a sort of a blurb with each song?
Well, engage with the audience as in like using Spotify's API for contests, right?
Right.
Follow me on Spotify or follow you on Spotify.
Right.
Enter to win a contest, right? Spotify does that for free. Apple Music, I'm not sure about Apple Music. I just know about Spotify. But that kind of stuff.
I see.
Understanding the marketplace and taking advantage of it as a new means to kind of promote yourself.
And if you do a contest on Spotify, I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, so you create like a follow. So I follow you on Spotify.
Yes.
I get into a bucket to win a contest for tickets to your next show.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a paid service on Spotify, or is that just a service they provide?
It's a service that they provide. through their APIs, Spotify developers.
Acronyms. We're going to say a lot of acronyms, so tell them
API,
what-
I don't even know what
Yes.
API stands for,
If
but
you're-
if you have a
you're
tech friend, there you go. So it's a back end that allows you. I apologize. Please come ask me after if anything flies over your head. But
Thank you for teaching our panel something today.
Yes,
I appreciate
thank you.
that.
But back to my original question. The original question. So you earn money. So $1 to $1.50 for terrestrial BDS radio. So $20 to $25 for CBC radio because it's a national broadcast, and then $4 a spin for like campus radio or small market radio, which is survey. Radio and TV still is the dominant way to make money through SOCAN. It's very hard for publishers and songwriters to make a performance royalty from streaming services in the digital because everything she said, it's 100%. It's kind of ridiculous, but
And by the old model, what I did mean as well, just to clarify, is the old model has always traditionally been based on the master owner earning more than the publisher. That has been traditional in mechanical digital sales, and that is still the model. YouTube, when it was monetized, again did the old model. Spotify, all the streaming services use the old model where the master owner makes more than the songwriter. And of course,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm coming from the side is why aren't they? They're both copyrights. They both have equal value. One cannot exist without the other, and they base it on these old models in terms of who the content owner is.
yeah. And I was speaking
And
more
SOCAN
about,
is a publisher.
yeah, and I was speaking on before of more of a creative trying to help, just different ways to interact with your audience or build a new audience. But at the end of the day,
Can you elaborate more on YouTube and its model for payment?
The way it's
When you were
monetized.
saying, so they're primarily the owner of the performance copyright as opposed to the songwriter being compensated?
No. What happens with YouTube, the way it's been monetized, which by the way took a long time again to do that. They fought for years about having to do that because they said there's copyright gridlock. Yeah, God forbid 3 people write a song and you might have to actually clear it. I remember being in Washington when they talked about that. But what it is when there's user generated content, we've got 3 copyrights that have now been created. One is the video, the video that's been created. And when they put a song, one of your songs on there, obviously there's the master recording of the song and the song itself. And that's embedded in data. And there's companies that deal with that kind of data by tracking it. And with those 3 copyrights, the revenue that's generated through the ad sales, when you can either skip ad in 4 seconds or you have to watch the whole thing based on a person's channel. Well, skipping ads actually generates more revenue for YouTube because it gives them more analytics and they can sell that data for more money because they go, this guy doesn't want to hear about tampons when he's watching whatever the ad might be. It gives them more analytics than having to force you to watch the whole 30-second commercial before you get to the video or the user generated content. So that is ad revenue that YouTube then shares with the content owners, the 3, the video, the song that's attached to it, and the recording of that song that's attached to it. Now, of course, 1/2 of the revenue goes immediately to the video component, whatever that, let's say it's 10 cents, so 5 cents goes to the video, and then the other 5 cents is divided 2/3 to the master owner and 1/3 to the songwriter, the song owner. And that's an old system, just like mechanical and digital. Master rights, when you buy YouTube, when you buy something on Apple, it's $1.29. Apple keeps 33% of that. 66 is between the 2 other rights holders, songwriter, record company, and the record company keeps about 58 cents of it. So these are the old models that need to be dealt with in the new media.
We have a question over here for Jamie.
very quickly before we say the question, who has a YouTube page and puts their music up on YouTube? Who monetizes their videos? So you need
You
to
gotta get that.
monetize your videos to actually generate money.
Can you explain what monetize the video means?
It means putting an ad on your video. To get without getting in depth, but essentially from SoCan's perspective, I'm sorry. Once you monetize a video, it generates a dollar amount, and that's how we can pay out your video on YouTube. So yeah. If your video is not monetized from day one, then it doesn't matter. Once you have a monetized video, then ad revenue dollars generate, and that's how we can distribute. So you have a monetized video. So we pay out on the basis, and the minimum threshold is 500 views from a Canadian IP address, which means a Canadian located computer, equals per quarter would equal around 20 cents. So yeah. So
You can put a down payment on that chocolate bar you've been looking at.
it's a nickels and dimes business, and hopefully it'll catch up. Just because it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so the one value of one stream is 0.0008.
Something like that, or
Something.
5, yeah.
But if you were to if that levels out with one radio stream, it kind of levels out, right?
Well, like I said, when it's being played on Kicks or whatever the local station is here, that's 100,000 people listening to the same song at exactly the same moment. If you're streaming or you're looking at something on YouTube, it's one set of eyeballs. So you can see why it's going to have a lower value.
Yeah.
It makes economic sense.
So monetized video, 1 quarter is what, 3 months? 3 months? So
Yes.
within that 3 months,
Right.
within that 3 months, you need to have 500 views minimum from a Canadian computer, a computer located in Canada, and that would generate around 20 cents. So if your video has 1 million streams, never be monetized, kind of miss out a bit.
Hopefully you get a lot of people at your gigs.
Yeah.